working together will get them further than going it alone. In corporate circles, they call it the shine theory, when women cooperate rather than compete in order to succeed and fuel other people's success along the way. So today we are showing you how to put the shine theory into action in your everyday life to strengthen female relationships that you have in your circle between coworkers, it could be neighbors, friends, even mothers and daughters. Carly Hazen is a job recruiter with Prince Perelson and Associates. She's here to walk us through ways women can better support women. How are you?
Great, how are you?
I see you, I'm good, thank you. I see you as someone who is really good at this, promoting success and drawing out the best in the women that you work with.
It's funny you say that, because you were the first person I thought of.
Really?
You really were.
Well, that's kind.
You first asked me to be on your show 9 years ago.
Has it been 9 years?
And I remember I was absolutely scared to death, because you're very easy in front of the camera, you're very direct, you're very smart.
Flattery
and
will get you everywhere.
I'm telling you though, I've never met a guest that didn't feel really, really comfortable on your show, and I think you elevate your guests,
wow.
so thank you.
That's really nice. This shine theory, I appreciate that. This shine theory was a new concept to me, so it's an actual thing. We didn't just make this up.
It's an actual thing. It was Ann Friedman. She wrote an article. She is a freelance journalist for the New York Magazine, and she wrote this article called The Shine Theory, which is really, really simple. It's basically about meeting a woman who you view as bright and smart and intelligent and maybe all the things you feel like you're not, and befriending her instead of hating her because she's amazing.
I love this.
It sounds so simple, but I kind of feel like with most theories, it's really easy to talk about.
Yeah.
It's harder to do.
Sure,
I think that we all have a little bit of insecurity, and especially
jealousy.
And jealousy. And I feel like if you're a competitive person, and some of that is by nature and some of that is by society. I remember when Rihanna, the singer, came on the scene, everybody was calling her the new Beyonce, because heaven forbid there's two successful females in the same industry.
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's some of that pitting against each other, but I do feel like it's kind of natural, whether you go to a book club or a meeting or an interview, and you look around and you survey, and as soon as you see someone that's shining really brightly, you immediately feel like that's going to diminish your own.
That you have to squash their light in order for you to shine brighter.
Or just get really far away from it. Like, I've got a candle and you have a spotlight, and if you could take your amazingness elsewhere, I'd really appreciate that, yeah.
So I can see where this would naturally translate to the workplace, but you point out every mother needs to be able to embrace this theory.
You know, it's so funny, because I feel like that's when it gets really personal, and I kind of think that you don't realize until you're a mother that motherhood is a competition that nobody really intended to enter, right? I feel like you become a mother and you start comparing yourself against other mothers, and there's, I don't want my kids watching as much technology as that mom, and does that mom nurse, and is she nursing too long, and are working moms working too long or not long enough, and you know, or stay-at-home moms working at all, and I feel like there's all of this back and forth judgment that happens.
And you know what I found? It's not necessarily meant to be hurtful or mean-spirited, but it naturally does happen in our woman-to-woman brain.
And you get together with your friends, and what I think really happens very naturally is someone will mention something that they're kind of proud of, an accomplishment.
Yes.
And another friend will chime in with, oh, well, that's incredible. So what happened to me the other day
it's the
was I got asked to advertise on my blog, and then someone else was like, oh, that happened to me too, and I didn't even have to go asking for it. And they came to me, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm pregnant with triplets, and I'm not even showing yet. You know, it's like, you just start firing mad at the table, and then you walk away and you're like, none of that was true. What just came over me?
No triplets. No triplets. I made that up.
So I feel like it's that competitive spirit, and that's what really does happen.
Yes.
And I think you take a step back, and instead of playing a part of that, you go, that's really incredible. How did you do that?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Yes.
Because I'm starting a blog, and I've noticed it doesn't have a lot of traction yet. What did you do to make yours successful?
We shine.
And people love to be able to share their success, and they also love to share it in a really humbling, thank you for noticing, let me bring you along the way. So I think you really are known by the company you keep. And if you surround yourself with the smartest and the strongest and the happiest women, you want women in your corner that can help you negotiate for a higher salary and help you leave a toxic relationship and tell you you're a good mom. I mean, what's more rewarding than that, than someone who you think is a really good mom telling you you're a great mom, or liking your pictures on Instagram and building you up? And I think that you start surrounding yourself with those beautiful, smart, strong women, rather than bringing them down, or rather than, you know, getting competitive. You start to shine with them.
Yes.
You start to share a network. And I have to tell you a really great story. There was a kind of millennial candidate that graduated from college and was interviewing for a job with a big client of mine. She didn't end up getting the job, and she asked me to introduce her to the candidate who did. And I said, you know, I don't really feel comfortable with that, but I bet if you watch LinkedIn, they'll announce that they got the job.
That could be awkward.
And I was like, what's your intention with this? I'm curious. And are you trying to size them up and maybe be like, why did she get it and not me? She ended up
run her over with your car.
Exactly, find out her address and do things. But no, she invited her months later. She followed up with me and said, I actually sent her a LinkedIn invitation and invited her to coffee, my treat. And I said, what do you feel like are some of the things that you maybe did in that interview that I didn't?
Wow.
She literally did that, had no idea who this person was.
No ulterior motive.
They became friends. Fast forward, that was in 2003. Fast forward to last year. The candidate who didn't get the job ended up getting a job elsewhere and ended up bringing the other candidate with her, and they both worked for the same company.
Kidding.
So I was incredibly impressed, especially at kind of that junior stage in your career, that you could have the foresight rather than to say, she didn't get it, what's wrong with me?
Yes.
Or what's up with her?
Yes.
But teach me, talk to me. And they ended up sharing a network, and that candidate found a really great opportunity to improve herself. I just thought that was a great lesson. I love it. And I've been in this industry for 15 years and was like, I've never seen that. I'm incredibly impressed.
Yeah, that's the textbook example of the shine theory.
Yeah,
you brought a couple other scenarios, situations, real life scenarios to the table, and I'd love you to point out where this shine theory really could come into play. So let's start with a business meeting, right? You're trying to maybe have your voice heard in a work setting.
Right.
How could you then, as those listening in, help elevate this individual?
So there's a theory called amplification that was started by some of the female staffers in Obama's administration. They noticed they were obviously the minority. They were seeking for greater parity. And so they started doing something that I read about, and I've tried it in meetings. And basically what happens is someone comes up with a good idea, and rather than letting it go, or rather than competing with it, if someone makes a key point, you start repeating it, and you're not only helping give that idea legs, but you keep giving credit back to its author.
So I'm saying, hey, I like what Carly said earlier.
Yeah, 5 minutes later in the conversation, you go, you know what, and like Brooke said, something we could really try, and then if someone else does it, it gives greater power to that idea and keeps giving credit back to you, because what they notice were happening, and this does happen, someone will throw out a great idea, and at the end of the meeting, someone else is taking credit for that idea. And they've just kind of built upon it and then claimed it as their own. So I think the really empowering part there is you're giving credit to its author and keep mentioning them by name. And they would do it for each other in meetings. And that way they all kind of ended up getting parity in these meetings, because they were all giving credit to each other's ideas as really good, solid ideas that they were each backing and pointing out why.
I love it.
So I think when I go to meetings, I'll notice that if an HR manager comes to the table with a concern, rather than be like, I don't find that as a concern, I think I'm up to the challenge, and view that as an opportunity for me to do something they can't, but go, you know what, I really got to give a lot of credit to that. That could be a real concern in this situation. It immediately puts you on the same fence as that person, instead of we're pitted together and I'm here to do something you can't.
You've got an ally, not a competitor.
Exactly, and that's how you really kind of gain that true partnership.
In social circles, let me throw out a couple of examples. Say you're out with girlfriends at lunch, or maybe just social media. You're communicating through Facebook, participating in a thread. You say that is the place, under this idea of the shine theory, to drop the competition.
That's exactly right. And I feel like, what's really incredible, sometimes you'll see a post and you'll wonder how you feel about it, and so you read the comments. I think there's nothing greater than reading comments and just finding that it's like comment after comment after comment, uplifting, empowering, support, success. It makes you feel like, you know what, this really is a network, because it can so swiftly go the other way on social media.
It's true.
And I think that's a really incredible time to be humble and be genuine, and if you disagree with something, you don't need to comment. But if you do, and you really feel that's an opportunity, and then you get it back tenfold. You notice that the same people making positive comments on yours are the same people that you're really empowering and uplifting on your end.
I think often I get into scroll mode, read mode. Why don't we like more? Why don't we comment more? Why don't we get out there a little bit more?
I think some of it's jealousy. I think some of it is like, oh, I'm home bathing kids and you're, on a great trip. And isn't that the third cruise you and your husband have taken this year? I mean,
I'm not counting or anything.
I might not like that. That's just my personal protest, And I think there's some of that, but I think if you just get over that and you are truly happy that others can succeed, and then one step further, find a way to learn from them and grow from them, and really be the one to be, I think drop the pride enough to actually befriend them and learn from them. You could be missing out on some really great opportunities to really kind of highlight your own friendships or relationships.
The shine theory, this is huge. Women are natural nurturers, so if they put a little purpose behind this, it could really go big.
Yeah,
Carly,
good point.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Brooke.